Okay, guys, here we go for jazz music. We're going to read a little story about that and answer some questions together. All right? So let's go down to the beginning underneath the picture. Starting with the first paragraph. Jazz music was one of the first American styles of music. It first started being played in the early 1900s. It was first played by African American musicians in the city of New Orleans. Jazz music grew out of ragtime, blues, and other kinds of music. Second paragraph. So, what does it sound like? It's hard to give it an answer that fits all jazz music. But there are some things found in jazz music that are not often found in other kinds of music. Okay, we're on the third paragraph here. Here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, let me get it for you. Just follow along, and while you're looking at your paper too.
One thing that sets jazz apart is that it often has improvisation. Improvisation is when musicians make their parts up on the spot. Sometimes in a jazz song, there is a section where someone can.
I had the robot play that part. I'll do the rest of it. Okay, sorry about that. There we go. And I'll read the rest. Let the robot do a little bit of work sometimes. All right. So we're on improvisation in the third part. Scroll this down so you can see it. Here we go. Improvisation, a solo, the rest of the musicians play quietly in the background. Then they trade. Someone else can then improvise their own part. Fourth paragraph. Jazz also can have a syncopated beat. A syncopated beat is a beat that does not follow exactly where you think it will. Some beats feel a bit longer, others feel a bit shorter. This can make some jazz music have a swingy feel. Or the fifth paragraph. Jazz musicians also have a certain way of playing. They bring their own style to the music. So do jazz singers. For example, they may scoop up hit notes or play around with melodies. And the last paragraph. Jazz is a very special type of music. Listen to a jazz song. What do you hear that makes it special? Alright, so now let's go and read our questions here, okay? First part, number 1, says here. Let's wait just a second. Sorry about that, guys. Your name, put your name in the paper, date, that's fine too. Number 1. And jazz music was one of the first American styles of music. Who played jazz music first? Okay, now let's take a look. Was it A? A, it was first played by Native American musicians in the city of New Orleans. Was it B? It was first played by European musicians in the city of New Orleans? Or was it C? Was it first played by African American musicians in the city of New Orleans? Now remember, if you don't remember, go back to the story and check it out. Find the evidence in the story. It's in there. Okay, number 2. Here we go. Number 2. The text. 2. Sorry, I made a mistake. The text compares jazz music to other kinds of music. According to the text, what is the one way jazz music is different from other kinds of music? So what makes jazz music different? Is it A? Oh, sorry, lost the robot. There it goes. Is it A? Jazz is made using instruments? Is it B? Jazz has singing? Or is it C? Jazz has improvisation. Blech. It's a hard word to say. Okay, and maybe you don't remember, go back to the story. All right, we're almost done. Number 3. Here we go. Number 3. Read this following sentence. It says right here. So I'm going to read this sentence to you. Okay, here we go. This whole thing right here. Read the following sentence from the text. Here's the story. One thing that sets jazz apart is that it often has improvisation. Improvisation is when musicians make their parts up on the spot. Okay, there's the second part. Jazz musicians also have a certain way of playing. They bring their own style to the music. So do jazz singers. For example, they may scoop up 2 hit notes or play around with melody. Okay, and here's the question. We just read this part, right? Now here's the question. This part right here. What does this information tell us about jazz musicians who create jazz music? So what do we get from reading this little part here? What does it really tell you? And here's the questions, right? Is it A, they can be free to use their creativity and style to make jazz music? That's what makes jazz music different. Is it B, they have to follow strict rules about how they make music, jazz music? Go back to the story if you don't remember. Okay, or is it C? They have just a hard time playing jazz with other musicians. Was that in the story? Which one was in the story that really told you? Go back and find it if you're not sure. Number 4. Here it is. Jazz can have a syncopated beat based on information in the text. How can a syncopated beat best be described? Now, if you're not sure, go back to the story and look at this word right here, syncopated. Okay, it's up in the story. What does it mean? And I read it to you already, so you can play the tape back. Is it A, loud? Is it B, boring? Or is it C, unpredictable? Now, one of these words will probably be in there. Okay? And the last one here, it's kind of long, but it says here, what is the main idea of this whole entire story or text? Okay, what's the main idea? Let's read them all first. So let's read A first. Okay? A. Jazz music is first played by African American musicians in the city of New Orleans and grew out of ragtime, blues, and other kind of music. Is that the main idea? Or is it B? Don't pick the first one. You have to list them all first. Oops, sorry. Just want to get that one little part for you. Okay, that should be the whole thing. Is it B? Oh, the robot's stuck. No, sorry, robot. Let's try it again. Is it B? I'll just read to you. Jazz is a very special type of music that can have improvisation, syncopated beats, and notes that reflect the style of the jazz musician and singers that makes the music. You really think that's how it is? It has improvisation, syncopated beats, notes that reflect the style of the jazz musician. Go back and think about that and listen to the story again. And the last one is C. Sometimes in a jazz song, there is a section where someone can improvise a solo while the rest of the musicians play quietly in the background before the switch rolls. Now, what do you think the main idea, what they're trying to tell you about the whole entire story, what you're trying to get out of it? It's going to be one of those 3. Right? And that's it. All right? Good job, guys.